That's coming up from 1:30. But first of all, the royal family's annual financial report has been released. They show that the main source of annual public funding for the royal household, the sovereign grant, will nearly double within 3 years to just under £100 million by 2027-28. So this is the money, your money, that funds the monarchy's running costs, including staffing, travel for royal engagements, expenses of the king's official household, things like receptions, maintenance of palaces. And the king has also become the first monarch to disclose their tax bill. It shows that he paid £12.9 million in tax for the year 2024-25. So that puts him in the top 100 of UK taxpayers. How that relates to his actual income and wealth, we will explore shortly with Jasmine Birtles, who is far used to working in hundreds or thousands than in millions or tens of millions. But that's what we're going to do with Jasmine Birtles. But first of all, to ask whether the royal family represent value for money, here's Ben Lord, royal commentator. Hello, Ben.
Hello, good afternoon.
What's your reading of these figures?
Well, it's very interesting that the king has now gone one step further than what his mother did. It was his mother that exercised her intentions to pay income tax, which she was previously exempt from as a monarch is, back in 1993 following the Windsor Castle fire. So he's now gone a stage further by not just paying tax as she did, but disclosing exactly what that taxation is. And I think what it shows, £12.9 million worth of tax paid by His Majesty for that tax year 24-25, demonstrates that the taxable amount at source was an awful lot higher. He is, of course, paying the highest rate of tax at 45%. So there was an awful lot of income there at the beginning to be taxing for the Treasury to be receiving what he has paid.
Yeah, and yet there's private income and all sorts. He's a fabulously wealthy man, and yet we're footing the bill for 177 helicopter journeys at a cost of £733,000. Does that seem reasonable, Ben?
Well, His Majesty is clearly not going to be taking the same kind of transport modes that you and I would be travelling to undertake the huge number of engagements, over 700 engagements that the King and Queen undertook last year. So I think it's very comparable to what the public purse will have been paying, for instance, for the Prime Minister and other senior government officials to be undertaking all kinds of engagements as well. But that said, I think it's quite customary and anticipated that these are the kinds of sums of figures that would be involved in ensuring that the king is transported not just efficiently but also safely with the extent of security that is naturally required of somebody of his status.
How can Prince William, the Prince of Wales, blow £130,000 on a 3-day trip to Saudi Arabia? Seems a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and when you're chartering aircraft to take them to a part of the world where security is quite volatile, it's quite understandable why perhaps there's extra resources being applied to an excursion like that compared with somewhere more locally or in Europe or something like that. But it's worth noting as well that the Prince of Wales has also declared his own taxable monies paid in the same period. And actually, since His Majesty the King came to the throne in September 2022, he's paid over £50 million in tax. So it could be argued that it's not just the tax revenue of you and I that's being used to fund the royal family's activities, but the King and the Prince of Wales themselves are also contributing to it as taxpayers.
And in terms of income generated or wealth generated for the country, is it your view that they are very well, or we are very much in the black here? That when everything's taken into account, they're not costing us a penny?
Well, there is always that debate between those who would rather see us become a republic and the monarchy abolished versus those of us that take pride in being royalists and advocating what the brand value of the royal family stands for, not just on our home stage, but on the world stage. You only have to look, for instance, on the home stage 2 weeks ago, His Majesty's ceremonial birthday, where the Trooping the Colour ceremony took place in central London, and the mall for that fly past that occurred over Buckingham Palace was absolutely rammed full of people. And those people don't just arrive in central London on thin air. They have paid to get there. They are contributing to the central London economy by being there. So, and all of that is in the name of a royal occasion. You take that then slightly further afield to the state visit of the King and Queen to the United States 2 months ago, and the reception was incredibly warm. And whilst there are other royal families around the world, be it in Asia, the Middle East, or here in Europe, there is, put simply, one royal family that doesn't need any further description than the King and the Queen. By default, it is the British royal family, and it is our King and Queen. And I think that demonstrates the incredible value that they bring to our nation's culture, our nation's economy, both at home and on the world stage.
I just want to run one thing past you, Ben, that Jenny Bond said on Breakfast this morning, which has stuck with me. And it's regarding Buckingham Palace. And you mentioned the thousands of people who were in central London to see the fly past, the thousands of people that walk up the Mall every day, the tourists that press their faces up against the railings. And one of the arguments of those who support the royal family has always been, and that's down to the royal family. That's why people want to come and see Buckingham Palace. It's because of the royals. It's because of the royal connections. Now the king is no longer going to live there. They'll still continue to turn up, won't they? So is that not a little bit of support for the Republican argument all along, which has been you don't need royals for people to come and see those buildings?
Well, I think it is the connection between the people that are the figureheads of those buildings rather than just the buildings themselves. Look, it is not new news that His Majesty the King does not reside in Buckingham Palace. That has been the case pre his ascension to the throne, and indeed post. It was made clear in the days and weeks after Her late Majesty died that the King and Queen would continue to maintain their residence in Clarence House as they have now since 2005, when he inherited that residence from his grandmother, the late Queen Mother. So this isn't particularly new news that he's not going to be taking up residence in Buckingham Palace. Buckingham Palace is very much the ceremonial headquarters of the royal family. It's the functional, operational headquarters of the royal household in terms of all of the royal activities that goes on. It's an extremely historic building. It's only right that it has had the level of restoration done to it as would be expected of any historic building in this country. And therefore, his residential status being there or not, as I say, it's not new and is pretty circumstantial more than anything.
Good man, Ben. Thank you very much. Ben Lord, Royal Commentator. Here's Kylie.